On today's show, part 2 of 2, myself and Tyler Jones is here continuing the conversation about the Hawks at the 1/3 mark of the season, plus the NBA Cup and much more, and all of that is on the way.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 1869 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Tuesday into Wednesday here in mid-December. And today's show is brought to you by the folks at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. I also want to encourage you at the top of the show to make us your first listen each and every day. Please check us out and subscribe to the podcast anywhere you find your podcast on the audio side. We're also on YouTube. Please like the video as you are watching it and tell your friends about the show. And this is actually going to be part 2 of 2 with myself and Tyler Jones. If you missed part 1, it's available in the same podcast feed right now. Always fun to talk to Tyler, and start there with part 1, and then we'll dive in now with part 2 with more of myself and Tyler. Here we go with part 2. Tyler, let us actually, I want to ask you one more thing, and then we'll move on to what the roster might look like, because people are, as we're talking, it's the day after the first trades happen. December 15th is the unofficial start trade season, because guys can be traded. For instance, Atlanta Hawks legend Cody Zeller is now eligible to be traded as of Sunday. He isn't alone. A lot of guys can be traded now, but he's on the list. Before we get to that, though, we talked about the defense a little bit. Just worth saying out loud, they've been quite good defensively. I've been banging the drum for a while, but people don't want to hear from me. What do you make of the defense right now? And I say that knowing that it was the numbers for the season have not caught up yet, because when they were playing, I'll be the mean guy. When they were playing the triumvirate of Roddy, Nance, and Garrison, they were getting annihilated defensively. And that's the reality. And I'm not just saying that. The numbers back it up. The numbers are gruesome when those guys play. But when they are healthy, and look, not every team is healthy, including the Hawks. They're going to have somebody get hurt in the next couple of weeks. It's what happens in the NBA. But when they're healthy, they've been a top 10 defense. And I think it seems real to me. And I wonder if you agree.
Oh, yeah. It's they've been incredible defensively. It starts with Dyson Daniels, who has really helped. Like, we knew this was going to happen. I said this, you said this, Glenn, Kevin, everybody who watched so much of the Hawks basketball these last 5 years in the Trae Young era said Dyson Daniels was going to be a shot in the arm for the defense. And he absolutely has. And him being just being able to defend at the point of attack without fouling any size player, and going from Jalen Brunson size to even LeBron James, being able to defend those types of guys without having to send help, without having to double, without having to change my scheme in pick and roll. We can play basic drop. He's helped so much. Capella looks better defensively because of Dyson Daniels. Okongwu looks so much better defensively because of Dyson Daniels. Hunter looks good defensively because of Dyson Daniels. He's just able to take that dribble penetration away, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're not getting dribble penetration. Now we got to go up against all these arms and Ricochet and Hunter and Jalen, et cetera, et cetera. Jalen Johnson, I know we can quibble about he could be better, but he's been good defensively.
No, he's getting. By the way, he's been way better as the season's gone along. It was not my favorite. He's been but it's gotten
the cup. I mean, the Knicks game, he was absolutely unreal.
He was great.
The Bucks game, I thought he was pretty good too. He had the toughest assignment against Giannis 1-on-1, and the Hawks sent minimal help, and I thought he did a really good job of not fouling and not giving up offensive rebounds, which is what he does best. He doesn't foul, he doesn't give out offensive rebounds, and he's also an opportunistic steal guy where if you're a lazy passer, he will get it.
No, he's a great rebounder. It's all going to add to that. It gets underrated, and I know you know this because we've covered the Hawks for a long time, but the possession does not end until you get the rebound. And Jalen is I'm not kidding you, elite rebounder at the 4. Elite. Not just good, elite. And that really helps. So he might mess up a rotation. He's not the best off-ball guy all the time, but he has the tools to make up for that, and then rebounds at a high level. If you have Clint and Jalen on the court together, you are going to be good on the glass. Like there's no, you can have 3 Trae Young sized players on the perimeter, and you'll still be good on the glass with Jalen and Clint. You just will. So
yeah, Jalen's just he's just big size player, reads the ball off the rim, and like a better athlete than everybody on the floor. So he's just able to out jump guys while not giving up positioning. So like overall, I mean the Hawks defense, they sacrifice shot making and shooting for better defense, and we're seeing the results where they're having more consistent outcomes of we're grinding these teams into dust on defense, and then we're just letting Trae Young kill them on offense. Like, then that's kind of been the formula, and it almost worked against the Bucks. Like, honestly, if
they've won so many games this way. I was going to ask you this too in some ways, but like they've won a lot of games that were unthinkable in previous years that they never would have won. Now the opposite side is there is a trade off. We don't have to lie to each other.
Now, I will say
the offense is not as good as it's been in previous years right now.
True, and it's not just shooting. It's not just shooting. There's also some process stuff on the offensive side where there's just a lack of composure. Sometimes that causes a lot of the turnovers, causes a lot of the bad, offensive possessions where
you're
it's
very
a young team. Yep, and so like it's going to take time for these guys. And people just gotta just have to accept that the Hawks are not winning the championship this season. I'm sorry,
they are
not winning the title. They are not set up to win the title this year. They're trying to build the best team 2 to 3 years from now, when these guys start peaking, physically and skill wise on the offensive side of the floor. But it's frustrating. The only thing I will say, it is frustrating that Trae may not make the All-Star team because his shooting percentages are down when he's playing such incredible basketball. Like I just like, for people that don't think that Trae is elite or like a superstar, like I don't know what you're watching. I just don't look at the shooting talent around him on the floor, and the Hawks offense is still elite when he's in the game. Like they're still like, last time I saw it was like 1.19 points per possession when he's on the floor. Like, just an incredible offensive talent that you're not going to find. You're not going to draft that guy. You're not going to trade for this guy. Like this upcoming draft, respect to these guys who are coming in. I don't know if there's one guy who's going to be as good as Trae Young is offensively in their career right now.
And
that's not a knock on them. It's not a knock on them. It's just the reality. Trae is that good. He's one of the 5 greatest offensive players in the game today. And this is the most talented the NBA has ever been. And like, he's right there with them. And like, I don't care about the shooting splits. Like he doesn't have spacing. He doesn't have Kevin Huerter spotting up 30 feet from the floor anymore. He's not playing all his minutes next to it. Bogey and Bay anymore. Like that's not there anymore for him. This is a defense first team that's like, Trae, I'm sorry, bro. You're gonna have to sacrifice your offense a little bit because we're trying to build the best team possible. And so like the upside is when Ricochet and Dyson become better offensive players, because they are going, you see the talent with both of them offensively. They're going to get better. They're going to get more efficient. They're going to get play with more composure on the offensive side of the floor. We saw the progression with Jalen. It took Jalen a couple of years. Remember, I need people to remember what Jalen Johnson looked like in the half court his first 2 years in the NBA compared to what he's looked like in his last 2. It's, and even from last year to this year, he's so much better, and he still has a ways to go. It takes time. Not everybody comes into the league Trae, Luka like on the offensive end where they are complete masters of their domain. Like that's just not a thing that happens with young players. It for these guys, it's just going to take time. And so like Hawks fans gotta have to go into watching these games with the understanding that the offensively, sometimes they're going to not be what you expect based on the shot quality or based on the opposition that they're playing with. Like they're going to have tough nights on the offensive floor. What's good is that their defense has consistently been there for the last, basically since Hunter and Bogey have been back, except for like first couple games they came back since they kind of got online. Hawks defense has been incredible. It's what's led to them winning all these games. It's what's going to lead them to the playoffs and potentially maybe even an upset in the first round, depending on the matchup. Like, they're that good. And like, to me, I don't look big wise. Like, what do the Hawks need to improve the roster? I don't see like them needing to make this massive move to improve, like bring in a Cam Johnson or bring in a James Butler. Like, respect to James. That's never happening. But like, Cam Johnson would be great for the Hawks team.
Yeah,
we're not there, and we don't need to go back towards. All right, we're feeling good and winning some games now. Let's go get the best available. Like this, let's go get the best shooter forward available, and nuke the confidence of our young players in Dyson and Ricochet, who we're trying to develop offensively. Like, let's get these reps are going to make a difference potentially in the later part of the season.
This show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift for anyone in your life. With Game Time, you can buy tickets for all kinds of sporting events. Plus, you can also find tickets at music theater, music comedy theater, and much more. The entire range of offerings and events are available at Game Time. They have a news feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets even easier and better to see your favorite teams and shows and all that live even easier and better for you. With Game Time Picks, they actually show you the incredible deals on great seats and nothing else. No more fluff. And they save you a ton of different time on searches that you actually don't really need to do. For example, there are seats available right now and great deals for the Hawks games across the board at Game Time, including a pair of tickets right now for $38 each, including fees for the home game on December 26th against the Bulls, just a few weeks from now, but still a fun game to look ahead to. That's an awesome price as well over the holidays in a big city like Atlanta, and there's more of that happening all the time at Game Time. I love the feature personally. Actually, turn on to view the seats through all-in pricing. No surprise fees at the checkout screen if you do that little toggle. And at Game Time, you have the lowest possible price guaranteed. Take all of the guesswork out of buying tickets with the folks at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account and use that promo code. It's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time. Today's show is brought to you by Rocket Money. Has Rocket Money in the past helped you find any subscriptions that you actually forgot about or that you haven't maybe paid for twice, for instance? It's happened to me in the past. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even want to realize that I was paying for, but Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down at once. It's like having a personal assistant for all of your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps to lower your bills so that you can actually grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals that you actually want to hit this year. They have over 5 million users at Rocket Money. Plus, they've saved a total of $500 million in cash subscriptions, save more than $740 a year when using all of their app's premium features. One of my favorites is personally the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services in the past that I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton of money. Plus, with their goals features, I've actually been able to set aside automatically money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon and do it right now today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One more time, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. So you teed it up there. I was going to ask you soon anyway. So before we sign off in a little bit, popular topic, of course, everyone's asking what they're going to do or what they should do. We're exactly 1/3 through the season right now, 27 games out of 82. And yeah, it's not a perfect roster. I'm glad you said it the way you said it. Like, there are things that they could use to improve the team right now. Among them, another shooter of some kind, preferably at a forward spot, power forward, backup. And before everybody yells at me about Larry Nance, I know he's able to, but Larry Nance is a center, in my opinion, so is what it is. Backup point guard. Like, objectively, if they were trying to win a playoff series right now, yeah, I think they could probably use someone better than Kobe, better than V. That's a realistic thing that they could certainly add.
They could have traded for Dennis Schroeder. They could have done it.
Yeah.
They could have done it. And
they could have done it. And honestly, Dennis would have helped them. I mean,
absolutely.
Dennis is a flawed player, but he's been good the last couple of years. And like, he would obviously help them. But do you want to trade? I mean, I guess they have Nance's matching salary, but Nance and whatever else, and a couple of 3-4 picks, 3-4 second round picks for Dennis Schroeder. Like, you could do that. It wouldn't be crazy to me, but the team that did it, the Warriors, is like kind of in to win now. Like, they have Steph declining, and that's the team that should do that. The Hawks are on the way up, not flat or down the way down. They're on the way up with their trajectory. So like, do you push chips in? And I'm not saying that any fan is wrong for wanting the team to get better at the deadline, because I get that, especially now that they've kind of, I hesitate to use the word proven because it's only 1/3 of the season, but I believe this level of team is pretty real for the Hawks. 500-ish, maybe a little bit better than that. That's a real thing. So like, yeah, okay, if that's a real thing, could they get to 45 wins with the trade? Sure. I just don't know what they have to balance is, and this is still a young front office too. Like, do you want to push chips in for the short term? If it's me, I'm trying to do anything I'm trying to do that's like beyond a fringe move. It needs to make sense long term. It's not about this season. It should help them, but like, yeah, you have some expiring contracts. I have done this on the podcast, so I'm just going to do it real quick, Tyler. There's a report from Mark Stein, and Mark Stein is very smart. Mark Stein's a legend. I'm not picking on Mark Stein. I have heard the exact opposite of Mark Stein on the Capella Nance thing he reported. He reported that the Hawks don't want to trade Nance and they want to trade Capella. I've heard the exact opposite. So I don't know if maybe I'm
Brad,
wrong.
I think Mark is right before the season has started. I think that was absolutely the case. Where the Hawks were maybe. Yes. I just think Capella's playing too well. And Nance, when he played, I like Nance. He's a great guy. Yeah. When he played, he was a disaster on
his defense has been bad.
It was shockingly bad to the point that the Hawks were like, even though they need a backup power forward, they're like, we can't do Nance anymore. One. Also, we can't play him at center either because he can't.
Well, and when he can't play respectfully, this is not only his fault. He and Capella on offense is not going to work either.
No.
So it's like you have these two things. I know Nance is shooting 50% from three. That's not a real thing. He's a fine shooter, but he's not a great shooter. Anyway, that's not about Larry necessarily. They like him in the locker room. I'm not saying that they.
Oh yeah, he's been fantastic. I think he's been fantastic as a leader.
They like Larry Nance. They're not itching to trade him, but he is very logically their expiring salary that they don't need on the court right now. And that combination makes you the most popular addition in trades because Capella, like they don't have the center long-term thing is a different podcast that we'll do again later on. Capella is really good this year, but he's not going to be their guy in 3 years. We kind of understand that. And I get that he's expiring, but if you want to win now, if that's part of the calculus, you can't trade Clint unless you get a center back who's better than Clint. That's not going to happen.
Here's the thing, strategically, the Hawks like what they're doing with their center position, where it's like, okay, we need more size and rebounding. We get Capella up there. We need to switch more and more offense. We get a Congo out there, and we close depending on how the game situation goes. Like it's a great with both of them playing well, and like Congo's playing a lot better. Congo's playing a lot better recently. I think part of it is just the team's playing better. It's a better, and like I think the Hawks have figured some stuff out with him defensively. They're doing more switching stuff with him when he's in, and that's helped immensely. Defensively, and that's kind of bridged the gap between those two on the defensive side of the floor. But like the Hawks like what they have at center. That's not what they're would be looking to upgrade.
No, that's the thing. That is I know I get that fans want the ideal center. We talked about it earlier, but
I too would like Anthony Davis on this team, Brad. I too would like that.
And of course, like there is a real question that I've been saying for a year and a half about who the long-term center is, because it may not be a Kongwu. We'll see. But in the meantime, I've not heard a single peep about the Hawks really wanting to upgrade center right now, mid-season. Maybe they would do it if something crazy happened and something was available that I'm not seeing on the board. But I have not heard anything about that. I think if they do make a trade, it's going to be for a non-center. I think it might be for another forward. Might be for another guard, whatever it's going to be. But like,
I mean,
that's just where we are.
If
it
you
isn't a problem. I mean, I think
the actual problem is that they have no backup power forward and they have no backup point guard. I think the backup power forward situation is more dire because at least they have Kobe who can do it for a game and can do it for stretches if trade were required. And
crucially, to add to that, they want to develop Kobe. Like
exactly.
If they had the Kobe version of at power forward, it'd be understandable. And I get it. Playing Kobe may not be the best thing to win that night, but Kobe was the 15th pick in the draft 16 months ago. They're not going to bail on Kobe Buffkin right now. In a year, if they're not loving Kobe Buffkin, maybe they try to move on. I'm not saying that's not possible, but like they're not going to bail on Kobe Buffkin right now. Maybe, I should say could they trade Kobe Buffkin in a trade? Sure, they could. But as far as like if he's on the team, they don't want to just not play him. This is still a season that is, as you said eloquently earlier, they're not trying to win the championship this year. They do want to win. They have no incentive to lose, but they don't want to do it at the cost of not developing their young players. Same with Ricochet. Look, we can be honest about this, Tyler. Ricochet, there are some nights when he's not helping you very much.
And guess what?
And DeAndre Hunter is better than Ricochet. We all understand that right now. He's better. And by the way, for all the people that say starting doesn't matter, that's me. Starting doesn't matter. Has anybody seen the minutes lately? Ricochet is starting and playing like 18 minutes a game. They know Hunter's better. They know Hunter's better than Ricochet. They understand. Everybody understands.
Especially in these last 2 cup games where they were like, we gotta stop.
And when they get back to the regular season Thursday,
he's gonna play 20,
I think he'll play more.
Minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And Hunter will probably play less because they're trying to manage Hunter's knees. Obviously, same with Bogey. So like they're doing this dance, and it's all over the roster between winning now and developing. Trey's Achilles is not going to stop being a problem. He's not 100%. They're going to try to manage him all year long. Jalen's got a shoulder thing now and an ankle thing now. Like it's a long season. They don't want to kill these guys, but the biggest issues, like you just said, backup point guard, backup power forward.
Backup power forward is a much bigger issue. I floated on the blue sky that they need to. And I actually texted you that I was like, they should call AJ Griffin's agent. See what he's up to. About that. Yeah. Also like maybe call Dylan Windler. I know he's in Australia. Get him back here just to get another look at like a forward-sized player because David Roddy is just not cutting it. And I think they need to pivot, sooner than later. But like that those are just small things they could do. But like I think bigger, like on the trade market, somebody look at is like even somebody like Gerson Yabusele, who on a minimum contract on a Sixers team that might punt on the season, depending on what happens here on these next couple games, where he probably won't cost much to get him. You're probably not going to be able to resign him, but just as a depth piece, guy who can play 5 to 10 minutes a night, who's stout defensively, can make an occasional open 3-pointer. That I'm talking about this type of player. I'm not talking about trying to find, Tari Eason magically.
Well, yeah, it occurs to me
that's not happening. They got to be realistic.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get in the action and the NFL, NBA, and much more this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, if you're a new customer, bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. At FanDuel Sportsbook, the app is really easy to use. It gives you everything they actually need to place your bets all in one place. And they're looking for sports betting space from over-unders to point spreads, money lines, player props, and game props. They have future bets, same-game parlays, live betting, and so much more. The app of FanDuel is also safe and secure. They cover the entire range of sports as well. That includes the NBA, which we talk about all the time on this podcast, plus the NFL, college football, baseball stuff, WNBA, hockey, golf, tennis, soccer, which means, domestic stuff and international, plus auto racing, F1, NASCAR, etc., boxing, MMA, and so much more. And now is an awesome time to sign up with the folks at FanDuel Sportsbook. The place to go is FanDuel.com to get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel. That's one more time, FanDuel.com, $150 bonus bets when you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's show is sponsored by BILT Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer for you. Thanks to BILT, you can now earn points on rent payments just like you do with groceries or with travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join BILT Rewards. Earn valuable BILT points on your rent everyday spending as well at no extra cost. Redeem points for flights, hotel stays, even future rent payments. They have over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program. The possibilities are endless. You can also access unique experiences that are exclusive to BILT members. And personally, I love using the points for travel. And BILT makes it so easy to turn rent payments into rewards. If you're already paying rent, why not make it work for you? Start earning points on your rent that you're already paying by going to joinbilt.com. joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. That is JOINBILT, joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure you use that URL so that they know that we sent you to them. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. Joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. Right. I'm not trying to rain on parades, and they could make a bigger move. They could make a bigger move. And I don't think that they really couldn't make a bigger move. Like they could certainly turn around and trade assets for a player that would help them long term. What I don't think that they want to do is make a panic trade. Like, okay, Cam Johnson's popular, right? Cam Johnson will really help them. He makes a lot of money, so it's not like easy to do, but that's someone who actually could make sense. He's in his 20s, could be a guy that helps him long term. He's a real shooter. That's a real do both piece. It helps you now, helps you long term. Cool. What they're not going to do, and look, it would help them if they had. I don't mean to, I'm not picking on Mo Gay. If Mo Gay was a player, they wouldn't have this problem. But they don't think Mo Gay's ready, and he's not. And then here's the thing: you probably are going to have probably not going to have perfect health.
Yeah,
they're in this cup run. They've been healthy, and that's not a coincidence. But God forbid Jalen is out for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yes. The season's just over.
They literally have a -13 net rating with Jalen off the floor. They've been terrible. And having Hunter would help a little bit, but they can't replace Jalen. I mean, Jalen and Trey are irreplaceable on this roster. And I know people want to say what they want to say about them Hawks beating the Celtics once on the road without Trey. Great. They played great that night. So Dice played great that night. If Trey was out for a while, they would be bad. I'm fairly confident in that. So you can't prepare for that. It is what it is. You got to hope those guys stay healthy. But you're right. I think they could use another small upgrade. And maybe you just turn Cody Zeller and a second-round pick into a 4 that you like better than what you have now. Yeah. It might be something boring like that. And I'm not saying that's exciting for me. Look, for trade content for the podcast, I'd love to have a bigger trade or rumors or whatever. That'd be great for me. Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson are going to be rumors the entire time, and that makes sense. But by the way,
I just think
the league wants those guys.
I just think the Hawks would love to have them, but I just think they're going to cost too much for what the role is available to them in future seasons. Not necessarily this year. This year, oh yeah, absolutely. You just plug Cam Johnson in, and it'd be incredible. But like, when will Ricochet play? You know, that's the question you got to ask.
All of these, every move, my big picture take is that every single potential move for the Hawks, you should think about what it means beyond the season. That's all I would say. Because they do want to get better this year. They always want to win games this year. It'd be great. But if it doesn't have an impact for next year and beyond, they might give a second round pick to improve this year, but they're not going to give real capital to improve just now if it doesn't help them in the future. They're not going to go all in for some expiring contract guy. That's not going to happen. So at least it shouldn't happen, in my opinion.
No, because larger picture, the Hawks still need to upgrade the talent on the roster. Like they need
more offensive juice.
What I want people look at how the Rockets have been built, where you can argue they don't have any real all-star like true superstar caliber player on their team, but they have a lot of good young talent that they throw out there every night that causes teams a lot of problems. Like, they win with their depth. The Grizzlies win with their depth. The Warriors tried to win with their depth, and then their depth got exposed once Buddy Hield stopped shooting like the greatest shooter of all time. So, like, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like they have good pick capital coming up. You know, the DeJounte Murray trade, and considering how the season has gone, Hawks are looking really good right now in this draft and in future drafts.
The first trade couldn't possibly look worse, and the second trade looks like a home run. And it kind of washes out.
I mean, it's quite frankly, they because they got Dyson Daniels, who's just probably going to be the best player in the trade.
We're late in the podcast here, but you'll love this. I did a little bit of an informal straw poll here at the NBA Cup of national folks that I trust, and just asked them, okay, who would you rather have from now on, Dyson or DeJounte? And no one took DeJounte. Not one.
I mean, it's not even a knock on DeJounte. It's just like
No.
what Dyson Daniels does. You know,
and especially for the Hawks, like if you throw the context in there, it's even clearer, Dyson. But even big picture, and this is not a DeJounte podcast anymore, but unless you really need a floor raiser on offense, that's kind of the only reason why you would want DeJounte, Dyson,
which is what the Pelicans needed. I mean, the Pelicans do need that, like flat out, but it's just
he's just been hurt, and that's what it is.
And it's also a weird fit for them. But like,
and Dyson's been great, and that we talked about. You brought up at the beginning of this podcast, like full circle, like having that guy and the picks,
and people need to realize that these picks do matter because it's a good draft coming up, and they need another guy. Like they just need another guy. Maybe that's a center, maybe that's in a guard size player, but like those guys will be available. You know,
it's trade fodder, and like I mean, the Kings pick. We'll see if they get the Kings pick. It's going to be coming down to the wire, I think. But you can trade that. By the way, even if that pick does not convey, you can trade that pick. That pick's going to have some value. It becomes 2 seconds, yes, but like that's a good attach piece. So, for instance, if they wanted to get into the Cam Johnson sweepstakes, they could offer that Kings pick. It's got some value attached to whatever else they want to offer, etc. That's probably the best pick that I think the Hawks might offer in a trade. Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if they traded the Lakers pick.
No, there's no chance
for almost anything in this season, just because there's some real upside there. So yeah, that's a decent overview. We don't have to keep going. I mean, and look, we're still 2 months away from the deadline. Like it's a long runway here. It's just that you can make trades now. The Zeller thing, just to say this out loud, everyone asks me all the time. My one take on Zeller is that he will not be on the team anymore after the deadline. They will, if he's still on the team by then, if they haven't traded him by then, they will cut him. I can almost guarantee you that. Until then, I don't know what they're doing other than he is useful as a salary matching entity. And by the way, he's not just refusing to show up. I got a whole new wave of these because it's the cup. I get it. People are like, oh my God, what's Cody Zeller doing? Guys, he's not getting fined. The Hawks it's an excused absence. The Hawks are encouraging him to not be with the team. It's a mutual decision. It's not Zeller's fault. He got guaranteed money in a contract. He was acquired to make the money work. He's not refusing to show up. He might get traded to somebody else. He might get cut or whatever. But I get it on some level, but there should be no negativity towards Cody Zeller. He didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. All he did was be in the right place at the right time, make some extra money for the Pelicans. I do get it from the casual fan's perspective. You don't understand cap. Like it's just like the guy's making money. He's not up with the team. What's going on? All you see is not with the team. What the heck? This guy's
but that's
not. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault, and he has no responsibility to cut the Hawks a break. Like flat out. Like they signed him to that contract. He's going to get everything that he's owed based on the contract. I will say before we get off because we haven't talked about DeAndre Hunter enough here. I have.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
We're talking about trades. We're talking about trades. I'm like, man, where would the Hawks be if they traded DeAndre Hunter?
Well, and there's this whole dance because he still has to stay healthy for more than a month, but he's been awesome.
Yeah, but like
I know
put the health aside. Awesome. You can say help a lot of guys. Like
I just mean that he has a record of not being healthy.
Yeah, but like what he's done, particularly on the offensive side of the floor, like it's just it's been a transformation that he started last year. Like we saw this last season where he came back from his injury a new man, and like that's continued even more so this season. So he's been incredible. It is one of those things where coaching and context matter so much, where now defensively he's not asked to do more than what he can on defense, and on the offensive side of the floor he's just playing faster. Like there's no other way to say this. Like he just plays so much faster now. Like he catches the ball, if he's open, he's just going to shoot the three.
He is. No, I'm sure what you think about this. I had this conversation with someone over the weekend, and I won't name, in Vegas. I think DeAndre Hunter is the single easiest way to see Quinn Snyder's impact on the team.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because individually, just like if you watch the way Hunter played pre-Quinn 2.5 years later and watch the way he plays now, everything has changed. And it's not that he's going to shoot this well all the time. He's going to regress a little bit, but the decision-making processes, the shots that he doesn't take anymore, and he still helps the shot creation. They need a shot creation.
Yeah.
He can go get a shot when he wants one. Even if it's not a great mid-ranger, he can get a shot off, which is helpful for this team. But he is not doing the stuff that used to drive us all crazy.
But you know what, Brad? When he was playing under Lloyd, that second year, he got off to that incredible start. You know, it was different. It was different, but he played faster. He played faster. He wasn't holding the ball. He was I remember we talked about this. So I was like, he's playing with force and physicality, getting downhill. He's making decisions quicker than what he did his rookie year. And then under McMillan, like it just backslid. And they signed him to the contract, which now looks pretty good. Like flat out, the contract just looks really good.
He's playing.
You're just not getting. You are not getting this level of shooting from a forward size player at $20 million a season. You're just not.
No, you know? I mean I think that they're not going to trade him. I don't think right now.
No.
But if I think that he went from the Hawks basically couldn't trade him. Let's just be real. They would have probably liked to trade him before the season, and they couldn't because it was underwater. And to their credit, they weren't going to pay to get off him. That didn't make sense to anybody, including me. But now, if you believe this is true and he stays healthy for a while, you could trade him if you wanted to, and that's a good. And by the way, they don't want to. I don't think
they don't want to.
That's a good way to kind of illustrate how much he's gotten better. Is that he now has, at the moment, he has. I would say he has positive trade value. Whereas he very clearly did not have positive trade value 2 months ago. So that's a good way to illustrate how well he's played.
I've said it before. He basically turned into Lauri Markkanen on offense. Like he's just, they
do play similar. It's funny as that sounds.
It's
like they
pure play finishing, not really, not really dribbles, but like when they decide to put the ball on the floor, they're going straight to the rim over a smaller player, or they're shooting over the top. And like that's a good player. Like we saw what the contract Lauri got, on his. In Utah, so like it's a good play finish. It's different because it's not rim finishing. It's more 3-point shooting finishing. But especially with Trae Young, he needs these play finishers where he can get them wherever they are on the floor. So like he's been incredible. That doesn't mean he was good. Those other couple years.
It's one of those things that's so
funny. It's like people are like, they want me to apologize. I'm like, apologize for what? Like he was bad.
He's definitely playing, but I was not as negative on him as you were. But it is undeniable he is playing differently than he was in the past. So both can be true. Guys can improve, and I try to always keep that in mind. It's like guys are not necessarily always the same. Like they do improve, especially guys that he's not super young anymore, but he's not like at a point where he couldn't improve anymore. Like you're in your mid-20s, like you can keep getting better. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard plenty of calls to apologize to DeAndre Hunter. Look, every once in a while, this is different topic, this is different, but people are like, "Oh man, Capella, victory laps." I'm like, guys, he's doing this. He's playing better now.
Who's doing that? Because every time, everybody's like, Capella's been terrible. I'm like,
oh my
goodness, because I see it on the socials, and I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
I think it's listeners to the podcast that know that I'm been high on him forever. Like I think that unless you just are programmed to hate Clint, it's very obvious he's been really good this year. I know that people don't want to see it or whatever, but I think he's been really good.
He had an incredible time out. He had an incredible block on Giannis. Straight up, blocked him, ran down the floor, and then finished with his right hand over Brook Lopez in transition.
Hey, well, man.
Still got it, man.
But the next time that he misses a 3-footer, you're going to be yelling at him.
Absolutely.
On Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, thank you.
No, it is what it is. Clint will still drive everybody crazy. I get it. Kevin can vouch for me. I sit next to Kevin Schnarr at Hawks at every home game. When Clint does a funny, bad Clint thing, I die laughing. It makes me laugh every time because I know what I'm about to get on social media, and I get it like a minute early because like we're live, so we're ahead of the TV feed. It happens, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I start tapping Kevin on the shoulder, like, here it comes, and I get like a wave of Capella stuff. It is what it is. It's fine, but he's been playing really well. You said it earlier. Dyson helps everybody, and he helps Hunter. He helps Clint. It's not just Dyson, but man, he helps everybody.
Just an aside, Clint's finishing is a lot better because he's not just throwing the ball at the rim anymore. Like
he has been taking more hooks lately. I want him to stop. The last few games, a little bit too many hooks.
He should only take hook shots if he's set up to take the hook shot. Like if he's created a hook shot for himself off of offensive rebound, which he's done a couple times, I'm like,
yes,
Clint, what are we doing, bro? Pass the ball out. We got the ball. Just pass the ball out. And he's done more of that this season. Like, and
yes,
it was something we talked about on ATL 29, which you can catch us, because we're closing the podcast here. You can catch me
Subscribe
on ATL 29.
To ATL 29. I will always say that we are not competitors. There's plenty of reason to listen to both podcasts. I listen to that show every episode.
Yeah, because I mean, there's only so much Hawks content you're going to get nationally, so you might as well try to get all the local stuff.
Very little nationally. Although a nice little uptick this week because they're in the cup. It's like, oh, we have to cover the Hawks a little bit, so there was some Hawks stuff. It was nice.
Hawks are like, whoa, the Hawks play defense? When did this happen? But we talked about Capella's improvement on the offensive end, even going back to last season where he improved as a decision maker passing. But you can catch me on ATL 29 on the Blue Sky. I'm still on. I lurk on Twitter now. I'll go post if
you only post when you're mad. I found you only post on Twitter when you're angry about something, which makes me laugh.
Yeah,
I get it. We're all the same. But yeah, follow Tyler. Thank you for being here as always, my friend, and giving me way too much time as always. One more plug, ATL 29. Oh, we have to get your recommendations on whatever.
Yeah, all right. So I it's not a rec per se because I watched the movie on when was it? Friday. It's the Lord of the Rings, War of Rohan or something. I don't know. It's the Lord of the Rings animated.
Is that the animated one?
Yeah, the animated one. And
I heard about that.
I live posted it on Blue Sky because I was like, the first hour and change. It's a long movie too. I was like, man, this is not good.
Shocking.
I was like,
a Lord of the Rings movie is long.
Yeah, it was long. Unnecessarily long too, by the way. It was long and didn't need to be this long. And I'm like, man, this is bad. I'm frustrated. This has David Zaslav blue hands all over it. Like I'm like, this is not animated. This is animated weirdly. It's like they try to mimic live action for some reason in an animated format. Like, why would they do this? And it goes even like the dubbed lines, like the lines where they're speaking, like there's weird pauses because they're trying to match the lip. I'm like, all this is so dumb. Like, why'd they do it like this? That goes away in like the second half of the movie, and then it gets really good. And the plot really like the first half is like a lot of setup, which is a waste of everybody's time. Second half, if it's by itself, is actually a really good movie. I can't recommend Lord of the Rings anime just because of its like technical faults, really, but like the writing and there's some weird character stuff going on. The first hour, like that first hour was just so bad, but like it picks up in the second half. I would say if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, it's probably a must watch because there are some lore stuff in there. But if you're not, I would suggest go watching the Sonic movies if you want to watch a movie this caliber, or watch Gladiator 2, which I haven't seen yet. But like, I'm not saying Lord of the Rings is not a recommendation. I'm just saying it's not a must watch. Truthfully, just wait for it to come out in Prime. Watch it.
Get it for free. All right, we've knocked that out. I appreciate you doing this, my friend. It's always fun. When's the next day? 10/29. Are you guys recording this week? What's going on?
We are recording tonight.
Okay, so I kept you way too long. You probably have this, but that could be up by the time this show goes up. So people just check out ATL 29, subscribe. This show that we're talking about now is going to post Tuesday morning, late night Monday. So it might be about the same time as ATL 29. But lots of Tyler. It's Tyler Jones week. The Hawks play again on Thursday in San Antonio. I don't know if I'll have a podcast between now and then. This is a two-parter. So stay tuned. I'll have something at the very least after the game on Thursday. Wemby, baby. It's supposed to be a national TV game. They pulled it. Remember that?
Yeah, I'm glad they did that. It's a double win, double loss. Another double win, double.
Yeah, another. They won the Lakers game. That was a good one. But this is one where look, and you know what? It doesn't matter. The picks are already gone. The picks are already gone. Everybody, it doesn't matter. Next year it will matter because there's a swap.
The Hawks don't want to lose to the Spurs just because Spurs had their
Correct.
pick. Like that's
Correct.
just the biggest thing.
The Hawks just want to win the game. The Lakers one's a true double win, double loss because it's like they have impact on their own pick. But the Spurs game, it doesn't actually matter other than just it matters to win the game. So anyway, thank you, my friend, for doing this. If you're a listener to the podcast, please subscribe to this show. Check out ATO 29. We'll see you all next time.